For 10 long years, a waitress secretly used her meager income to feed 4 little orphan girls who showed up at her diner one rainy night. Then, they vanished. Gone without a trace. For 12 years, she heard nothing, slowly giving up hope. Then, one afternoon, a luxury SUV pulled up to her small house, and a reunion was about to unfold that would change her life forever. This is an inspirational story about the incredible power of kindness, a tale that shows how a single, selfless act can ripple through time and return in the most unexpected ways. While it's a fictional narrative, like many you might find online, it's intended to inspire and uplift. It's a story about a humble waitress who never asked for a thing, but in the end, was given everything she deserved. Clara's life was a simple one. In the small town where she lived, everyone knew her as the kind-faced waitress at the Morning Glory diner. For over 20 years, she'd been a quiet constant in a place that time seemed to have forgotten. Her smile was genuine, even when she was tired, and she had a knack for remembering everyone's usual order, a small thing that made people feel seen. Her world was small, just her tiny apartment and the Greasy Spoon diner. Her own past was something she rarely shared. A tough start in life had taught her to be resilient, but it also left her with a deep, quiet loneliness that always set in after her shift ended and she came home to an empty apartment. Her small pay was just enough to get by, with nothing left over for wants or wishes. But one stormy Tuesday night, everything changed. The wind was howling, and rain was beating against the diner windows. It was closing time, and Clara was wiping down the last of the booths. It was on nights like this that the loneliness felt the sharpest. Just as she was about to flip the sign to "closed," she saw them. Huddled under the diner's leaky awning were 4 little girls, soaked and shivering. Clara's heart just clenched. She could see their wide, frightened eyes staring into the warmth of the empty diner. Now, her boss had a strict rule: no handouts. It was bad for business. But looking at those 4 little girls, Clara felt a fierce, protective instinct that wiped away all the rules. She didn't see a problem, she saw a reflection of the scared little girl she herself had once been. Without a second thought, she unlocked the door and pushed it open. "Come in," she said softly. "Come on in out of that storm." Hesitantly, the 4 girls shuffled inside, dripping all over her clean floor. The oldest held the hand of the youngest, and they all looked up at Clara with a mix of fear and suspicion. They were so thin it was unnerving. They were clearly sisters. "Are you hungry?" Clara asked gently. 4 heads nodded at once. That night, Clara broke every rule her boss had. She fired up the grill she'd just cleaned and made them stacks of pancakes and tall glasses of milk. She watched them eat with a hunger that spoke of days, not hours, without food. She learned their names: Lily, the brave oldest, Rose and Daisy, the inseparable twins, and little Violet, the youngest. They whispered that they were orphans who had run away from a group home where they were about to be split up. They were terrified of being found and torn apart. Looking at their vulnerable faces, Clara made a choice. She couldn't give them a home, but she could make sure they didn't go hungry. "Listen to me," she said, leaning in. "Every night, I'll leave the back door of the diner unlocked. You come here, quietly. I'll have food for you. Can you do that? Can you be my secret?" 4 pairs of eyes, now filled with a fragile hope, looked back at her. And again, they all nodded. And so it began, a secret that would last for 10 years. Clara's life completely changed. Her small income was stretched to its breaking point. She started working double shifts, and the extra money wasn't for her, it was for an extra carton of milk, for fruit, for vitamins. She began skipping her own meals, telling coworkers she'd already eaten. When her only pair of work shoes fell apart, she patched them with duct tape for months so she could buy proper winter coats for Rose and Daisy. She ignored a throbbing toothache because Lily needed new glasses. Her little apartment became their secret school. After her grueling shifts, she would sit at her wobbly kitchen table and teach them how to write their names. She read them stories from second-hand books, becoming the mother, teacher, and friend they didn't have. This secret life, however, built a wall around her. She had to turn down invitations from co-workers and couldn't explain why she was always so tired and guarded. The fear of being discovered was constant. She knew if the authorities found out, they wouldn't see a woman saving 4 lives, they'd see a woman breaking the law. But the fear was nothing compared to the love she felt for them. The girls were her purpose. They filled the emptiness in her life with laughter, crayon drawings on her fridge, and whispered, "I love yous," before slipping back into the night. For 10 years, they were her family, her secret garden. And in caring for them, Clara felt truly alive for the first time. Section 2, The Silent Years. The day it all ended was painfully ordinary. Clara had worked late and left a special meal for the girls at her apartment, roast chicken, a rare treat. She fell into an exhausted sleep, dreaming of their futures. When she woke up, the apartment was too silent. The roast chicken sat on the counter, untouched. The blankets in their room were neatly folded. All their things, the worn-out clothes, the tattered books, were gone. All that was left was a single piece of paper on a pillow. In Lily's handwriting were just 4 words, "We're sorry. We love you." Clara's legs gave out. Her mind raced. Had they been found? Did someone report them? Did they just leave? The not knowing was a kind of torture. She couldn't go to the police, reporting them missing meant confessing her secret. Her hands were tied. The days turned into a gray fog of grief. The silence in her apartment was now a screaming void. The diner, once her purpose, became a monument to her loss. The years started to pass. 12 years is a long time. It's long enough for hope to quietly fade. Clara was in her late 50s now, and the years of hard work and heartbreak showed. Her hair was more gray than brown, and the sharp pain in her back was a constant companion. She still worked at the Morning Glory diner, but it had changed. The new owners were all about cutting costs and saw Clara as a relic from a bygone era. She felt their impatience, the subtle hints that maybe it was time for her to hang up her apron for good. Her life had returned to its old, quiet rhythm, but the loneliness was heavier now. The secret of their 10 years together was locked in her heart. Sometimes she'd find a faded drawing in an old book and trace the lines with her finger, the memory so sharp it physically hurt. She had accepted it. Her great act of kindness, the most important thing she had ever done, had vanished into the past. She didn't feel anger, just a deep, hollow sadness. She had given up all hope of ever knowing what became of her 4 little flowers. It was a gray Tuesday afternoon. Clara was walking home from her shift, her feet throbbing. Her little house looked even more tired than she felt, with its peeling paint and sagging porch. As she turned onto her street, she stopped. Parked right in front of her house was a gleaming black SUV, the kind you see in movies. It looked like it had landed from another planet. Who on earth would be visiting her in a car like that? Her stomach tightened with anxiety. As she got closer, the driver's side door opened. A tall, elegant woman in a business suit stepped out. Clara didn't recognize her. Then, 3 more women got out, each just as striking. They stood together, looking right at Clara's crumbling house. Clara froze. There was something familiar in the way they stood together. The first woman, the one in the suit, took a step forward. "Clara?" she asked, her voice steady but trembling with emotion. Clara could only nod, speechless. The woman's face broke into a smile as her eyes filled with tears. "It's me, Clara," she said softly. "It's Lily." The name hit Clara like a punch, knocking the air right out of her. She looked past Lily at the others. One with an artist's scarf, Rose. Another with a warm, empathetic smile, Daisy. And finally, a vibrant woman beaming at her. Little Violet, not so little anymore. It couldn't be. These weren't the scrawny, scared children she remembered. These were confident, beautiful women. But their eyes were the same. Lily? Clara whispered, her voice cracking. Rose? Daisy? Violet? Violet let out a sob and rushed forward, throwing her arms around Clara. We found you, she cried. We finally found you. One by one, the others joined the hug, surrounding the frail waitress who had once been their entire world. On that cracked pavement, the past and present collided in an overwhelming wave of emotion. For Clara, the gray world around her exploded back into color. Later, sitting in her cramped living room, the story of the last 12 years came pouring out. Lily, now a successful lawyer, did most of the talking. We had to leave, Clara, she began. That morning, someone from social services was at the library asking questions. We panicked. We knew if they found us, they'd separate us. But we also knew they'd trace us back to you. We couldn't let you get in trouble for helping us. You'd already risked everything. She explained how they ran but were found within a week. But a miracle happened. A couple who wanted to adopt heard their story and decided to adopt all four of them together. They were good people, Clara, Rose added softly. They gave us everything. A good home, an education, but they weren't you. We never, ever forgot you, Daisy said, taking Clara's hand. We promised each other that one day, when we were old enough, we would find you and thank you. And now, here they were. Lily was a lawyer who fought for the underdog. Rose was a celebrated painter. Daisy had become a therapist, helping families. And Violet was an architect. They were the brilliant, thriving proof of the love she had given them. You saved us, Clara, Lily said, her voice full of emotion. In every way a person can be saved. Tears streamed down Clara's face. The hollow space in her heart, which had ached for 12 long years, was suddenly overflowing. But the reunion wasn't the end of the story. We didn't just come to say thank you, Violet said, her eyes sparkling. We came to repay you. But how do you repay someone who gave you your life? Lily smiled. We can't. But we can give you the life you deserved all along. The one you sacrificed for us. She then explained that they had bought the Morning Glory diner. It was theirs. And they wanted Clara to run it, not as a waitress, but as the owner. Then, Violet pulled out architectural plans for a beautiful, charming new house. I designed it myself, she said proudly. It's being built right now. It's next door to the new family home we all bought together. We're not going to be separated ever again. And that includes you. You are our family. A house. The diner. A family. It was all too much. All those years of feeling forgotten and invisible had just been the quiet before this. The love she had poured out into the world was now rushing back to her in a tidal wave of gratitude. She finally found her voice. You were my girls, she whispered, looking at each of them. You were always my girls. Her act of kindness, done in secret and sustained by sacrifice, had blossomed into a future brighter than she ever could have imagined. The humble waitress who fed 4 orphan girls was finally getting her reward, a life of comfort, dignity, and most importantly, love. CTA. Isn't that an incredible story? It's a powerful reminder that no act of kindness, no matter how small or secret, is ever wasted. It shows that the love we put into the world often finds its way back to us when we need it most. The compassion of one person can truly change destinies. If you are moved by this story and believe in the power of kindness, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope, and subscribe for more inspirational stories that restore your faith in humanity. Conclusion. In a world that can sometimes feel dark, stories like Clara's are a beacon. They remind us of the power we all have to make a difference in someone's life. Clara never looked for a reward, she was just being compassionate. Yet, her selfless love created a ripple that traveled through time, transforming not only the lives of 4 little girls but, eventually, her own. It speaks to a beautiful truth: what you give, you will often receive back, in ways you could never imagine. The greatest legacy isn't what we own, but the kindness we show and the love we share.